Caffeine and Coils, and I'm Deanna.
And I'm Jenny.
All right, Jenny, it's just us today for our Christmas episode.
I know. Are you in the spirit yet?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I think I am too. I'm ready for all the decorations to be up. I've been browsing the web for our family Christmas pajamas. Haven't pulled the trigger on any of them yet, but I'm stoked. We are actually staying home for Christmas this year, and it'll be my baby's first Christmas, so I'm excited. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
What about you? Any special Christmas plans?
No, I don't have any plans yet, actually. I'm just going to decorate. I never really have to go anywhere, so.
Yeah. Well, that's nice.
I'm lucky with that.
I'm sure you're shopping for your cat's Christmas.
I thought about getting them a cat tree that's shaped like a Christmas tree.
Oh my gosh, that would be so
because
cute.
I'm hoping it'll offset them messing with my Christmas tree. If I get them something new, they'll mess with that instead of messing with my Christmas tree.
But you know how cats are. They're
Yeah,
like,
they
you brought a
pretty
tree in
much-
the house, so what do you expect me to do it with
They'll play with the box more than anything, honestly.
All right, so I have a fun topic for today. The ghost of HVAC past, present, and future. Little Christmas theme here.
Are you Scrooge? No, I'm probably Scrooge.
Yeah, I was going to say, that role has to be played by you. All right, so we're taking a trip through time, past, present, and future of HVAC to see how far we've come from mercury thermostats and oil burners to smart systems and AI diagnostics. So this should be a fun one. I feel like there are probably a mix of people who are listening that can resonate with some of this stuff. I didn't go too far back because... we were still in grade school in the 90s, so I don't know that we would be the ones to talk about it. But, so let's jump in. The past that I pulled was 2000s to 2010 edition. So the transition years, when technicians were starting to use smartphones for photos, smart thermostats were new, and refrigerants were changing. So tools and tech in the traditional era. All right, gauges.
Yeah.
Gauges have not always been digital. Did you know that?
I did know that, but I'm such a digital person that I think of what analog.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
analog.
Analog gauges. I'm like, oh, what a pain. I'd rather just read the number.
Yeah,
straight
like
off
digitally.
the thing. But I know that definitely some older school technicians have kind of felt like the analog ones are like more accurate or more reliable. You don't have to remember to keep a battery in them or whatever.
Yeah. I know, the technician that comes to my house and services my unit and stuff, he is like a diehard analog gauges, like it will not change. But it's crazy to me because I don't know why, it just made me think about the kids learning to tell time on like a wristwatch or a clock on the wall. I mean, are they even still doing that?
Honestly, I don't know if I could tell time on a clock right now.
Do not admit that in public.
It's been so long since I've had to do that. I mean, I remember, but it's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, so I feel like the ones who are using analog gauges are going to be, if anything ever goes wrong, if the apocalypse ever comes, we're going to be like calling those guys like, hey, can you come read this gauge?
Actually, I remember, this is like a little bit unrelated, but when I was in kindergarten, I had a Mickey Mouse watch, but it was like analog. I just wore it because it was Mickey Mouse and I liked it. And this girl kept asking me what time it was, and I was like, I don't know. I can't tell time. I have no idea.
Oh, that's great. That's so funny. I don't know. I just wondered about that because I have a first grader, and I don't know that he can tell time. I mean, obviously, he's probably a little bit further away from understanding the whole concept of it, but he knows that there's 60 seconds in a minute, so we're on the path. All right, so think back. Now, this one, I feel like this one resonates with me because my dad was a small business owner, and this is something he did. Handwritten tickets with carbon copies and clipboards. I distinctly remember, those plastic things that you used to hang on the wall that you just, set, a clipboard down in, if they're in a doctor's office or some kind of office or whatever. I remember a plastic thing, and the guys had clipboards and, plastic, paper page protectors. And then there were the 3 carbon.
Oh yeah, you got
carbon
the
copy.
pink copy,
yeah,
the yellow copy.
Yeah. So just think about someone handing you a carbon copy of something like that, like your invoice, your receipt, or whatever. Now, like, that is so foreign to me. I bet my son has never even seen one of those before.
If you think about it, though, it's so cool how it works.
Yeah, because you just had to write, like, bear down a little bit harder, and it would go through all three.
That's really interesting, actually.
Okay, so remember, now, we didn't have one of these growing up, but I remember a couple different kinds of thermostats. So I remember the thermostat with, like, the little stick.
Yeah, I
and
remember
you,
that
like,
one.
yeah, you
and you'd
adjusted
have to bump it over.
Yeah, you had to bump it over. And then I remember we got a thermostat with buttons on it, and you just went up and down depending on if it was you needed a heat, warmer or colder or whatever. And there was like a switch. It would just like heat, cool, or off. And then I think there might have been one for emergency heat. I don't really remember. But do you remember those?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it now, and now we use the term like, hey, you want to bump the heat up or bump. It's because you would like literally like bump the little notch.
Yeah.
And now, like, we're using an Ecobee or something, or you're like,
and you're just
bumping
touching
it.
the touch screen.
Yeah, you're touching the touch screen. It's kind of funny.
And okay, so I distinctly remember this too when we first moved into our house, and it's funny because our house isn't that old, but there are cookie cutter houses in a neighborhood, and so I think it was kind of just like the most cost effective of whatever they could bulk buy, and it was a thermostat that you had to like go through all these buttons and program for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so now just thinking back about like going through and doing that and home and away and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just can't believe that we had a house that was on the newer side and we were still, but think back to when those were new and people couldn't figure out how to use them.
Yeah. I remember when my dad first got a digital thermostat that was programmable.
Yeah.
It wasn't like smart, but it was programmable.
Yeah. From programmable thermostats then to smart thermostats. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
You still had to carry a manila folder, and you might have had a PDF on your BlackBerry or your iPhone. Do you remember like the first generation of iPhone?
I didn't have one.
I didn't either, but I went to school with me.
Yeah, I do remember like people having them. And I remember Blackberries.
I had a BlackBerry, and I definitely remember them. And they had like this little ball that you had to scroll, and you could get your PDF or whatever on there, and you'd scroll forever and just hope and pray you could interpret what it was trying to show you. But could you imagine being a service tech in that time and like having? Well, I mean, papers. I'm sure there was like Nextels, and you would like Nextel each other. Yeah, you Nextel each other, you call, and that was probably like so cool that you could pick up the phone and call the supply house, call whatever, call back the dispatcher and say like, I can't find this house or whatever. Equipment of the time that R22 was everywhere, and nobody had yet upgraded to 410A. And so since we've been in the industry, we've seen like the sunset on R22 and all of that. Now it was pretty much had already transitioned to 410A whenever I joined the industry, but I remember this was at the distributor that I worked with previously. There was a group message, and all the guys were sending memes, like, and it was like the Toy Story one where it's like Woody's got his arm, I think, on Buzz Lightyear, and they're looking off into the sunset, and it's like, goodbye, old friend, or whatever. It's like R22 is out there. It was like so funny. There were so many of those.
Yeah, I wasn't part of the industry then, but I think it's kind of crazy that we've sort of experienced two changes in our
short time
career. Yeah, in such a short period of time.
Apparently, scroll compressors were a new thing, which is so funny because I just feel like that's so prevalent now. Like that's all there is. It seems like not all there is, but it's just so funny. That's so funny to me that was like a new thing. Rooftops built like tanks, but also weighed just as much as one, which I haven't done so much on the commercial side, so I don't really know the ins and outs of this one, but I can imagine that. I can only imagine what the rooftop units were like 20 years ago versus what they are now.
Yeah, I saw something where we had some kind of promotion going on with a crane or whatever, and I was like, oh, that means I never thought about how it gets on there.
Yeah, they have to like schedule crane trucks to lift them up and stuff. Yeah. It's so funny because before joining the industry, I would have never thought 2 seconds about even what was on the roof.
Yeah,
I
no, I
mean,
wouldn't.
there's a shopping center that I drive past sometimes. It's a Publix. It's got like the main part of it is a Publix, and you can kind of see like the road is kind of higher up, and you can kind of see the top of the building, and there's like all these boxes on the top, you know, and some of them are for the refrigeration portion, and some of it's for, you know, just, you know, heating and air and stuff. But it's just so funny that you never think about like how all that stuff gets there
Yeah.
until you're in an industry like this and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I know.
All right, techs were starting to use GPS instead of MapQuest.
I remember printing out MapQuest directions.
But so I remember printing out MapQuest directions too, but I also remember having like this standalone
TomTom?
Yeah, a TomTom. And it had like this suction cup mount, and you had to plug it into your computer every so often to
and
update
update
the map. Isn't it so funny? Like, I can't even imagine being a service tech in that generation and having to, I mean, it just seems like so much more to keep up with.
I mean, think pre-MapQuest. How did they get around?
They dusted off their map in the glove compartment.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I can't get anywhere without GPS now.
I know. Oh my gosh, we're so lucky that, yeah, I couldn't do it either. I could never have been a service tech in the early 2000s.
Me neither.
All right, you'd still have to explain what SEER rating meant to homeowners, which I don't actually think that this is anything of the past. I feel like a lot of homeowners probably still don't know what SEER rating means. So we're probably still having those conversations. Okay, and this one is a good one because this one actually does affect us. The HVAC celebrity movement hadn't hit yet. No YouTube, TikTok, no technician influencers, just local legends with the dirtiest trucks and best stories.
Yeah, no caffeine and coils yet.
Yeah, so you wouldn't even know who we are.
So the next one is talking about changes in customer expectations. People still called the office instead of texting or, I guess, emailing.
Yeah,
or there's no tracker on the tech to see where they are. I like that when I have service come out and it tells me where he is and what his name is. And
yeah, so I used a local plumbing company probably about a year ago to fix some water heater issues we were having at our old house, and it like sent a tech and it had the tech's name and all this information. And while I wasn't there, I mean, it wasn't at my house, it was nice to know, and I could kind of like forward that information to the people that were at the house at the time and let them know. And then he ended up texting me, and it came through on that same thread, and then he called me too from it. And it was like, it was such a nice experience. Like, I got a text message that linked to the invoice and I could pay right there. Like, it's so nice. But I also appreciate, like, whenever I order pizza, you can kind of like track the car, DoorDash or something you can track. I do love that. I mean, just imagine, we used to have so many amenities now that our parents would have never, they wouldn't have known what to do with in the 90s.
We're spoiled. Also, you didn't need to send videos or photos. Trust was built on showing up and fixing it. I'm also thinking in terms of like warranty claims. I know that sometimes when there's like a leak or something, they have to send in a video or photo or 2 photos and a video or something like that. And I'm wondering how pre-phone era,
how that worked.
That was handled.
That'd be a good question for Deb
to
see what she says on that. It would be, I'm still holding out hope that she'll come on with us one day.
Yeah, I think she will. Pricing was simpler, margins were tighter, but the work felt more straightforward.
Yeah, I think there was probably a lot less components to it. Like, we talk a lot about IAQ and adding all of these additional things to your unit. I think a lot of that was probably not happening in this day and age. Some of that stuff, it was out there, but I don't think it was as common as it is now. So that makes sense.
All right, so what do you think is something that you miss about those early 2000s days, either for HVAC or life in general?
Well, I can't really speak about the HVAC part because, you know,
we were
still in high school. But
We're so young.
you know what? I know, right? I know. Listen, but they're like, we were working with people who were born in the 2000s.
I know.
And that doesn't make me feel very young.
No.
But life in general, I would tell you that I'm happy that someone else was responsible for the mortgage.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest one.
I also
Yeah.
miss not being so online all the time. I mean, it's nice, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like,
We're so
not
connected
knowing
all the
yeah,
time.
not knowing everyone's opinions on everything all the
Well,
time.
that and it's just like, I'm sure, we did have the news, but we could like turn the news off. And sometimes I feel like we're just so bombarded by constant headlines and
Yeah.
constant doom and gloom for clicks. And yeah, sometimes it just feels heavy. So I do miss that. I miss not being able to have social media on my cell phone. Yeah, and you know what? We could delete it at any time, so maybe I just need to take
And
a
like
little break.
the flip phones, like when you were mad at somebody, you would
Yeah,
hang up like really hard.
I miss having a razor.
I miss
a pink razor.
Yeah, I miss snapping that thing closed.
It was so much more dramatic than just the tap
Uh-huh.
of hanging up on somebody.
What about how do you think communication shifted once smartphones and apps started becoming part of the job?
I think everything changed because I think no matter what you had as a technician, if you were lost, you could call somebody. If you had a flat tire, you could call somebody. And you could call the customer and say like, hey, I'm on the side of the road because I got a flat tire. I'm not going to make it today. I'm so sorry. I'm going to send somebody else out. Whatever the case is, you could call to see if there was a part in stock instead of driving across town just to check or get it on order. There was a lot of things that changed about it. And, I mean, I think even from a contractor perspective, not just necessarily like a homeowner perspective, smartphones gave you the ability to basically log everything that you do at the homeowner's house. So, like, if you're changing a capacitor, you're charging them for the capacitor. You can take that out of your truck inventory right then and there on your smartphone. So I think it changed a little bit of everything. There are some things that I think it changed. No, I think everything changed for the better when they were able to get smartphones and be able to use their tablet and have the customer sign and pay and everything right there on your smartphone.
Yeah, I think that some people might miss the simplicity of life before all of that, but at the same time, I feel like it's also made everything just go so much smoother.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a food festival a couple weekends ago, and I remember when everybody had the square, the little square box that they would swipe the card across, and we thought that was like the best thing ever. This guy literally tapped my card on his phone through an app, and it was just like the RFID reader.
Yeah.
And it paid, and there was nothing extra except for an app on his phone.
I love paying on my phone.
I know.
It's so
I do
cool.
love Apple Pay. Yeah, I do love that.
Do you think that we've gained more efficiency or lost a bit of craftsmanship since everything changed?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think they can both coexist because I think the techs that have adopted the technology and really, have refined their craft, I think that they are probably incredibly efficient. They're able to do basically everything they need to do from their phone. I think on the same note, with some of the labor shortages we've had, sometimes I do think some of the people that are in the field maybe didn't have the opportunity to learn in a way that would allow them to be efficient. They're efficient with the technology side of it, but maybe they could use a little bit of help on the craftsmanship side, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. I think a lot of this has to do with learning, and sometimes it's just not as easy to get that experience maybe with a seasoned technician or, I don't know, all the things that have made it easier about learning. Sometimes it's easier to cut those corners. So some of the craftsmanship has been sacrificed, I do feel.
And I do think that sometimes messing around trying to get some newfangled technology to communicate with one another or
absolutely
an app needs an update or something that can jam up your workflow a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, and technology is not always perfect. Right. So some of the new systems and thermostats or insert HVAC product here requires you to have an app, and that app communicate and function properly, and maybe it needs to connect to Wi-Fi or cellular service, whatever the case may be, and that can kind of hold you up depending on maybe the Wi-Fi is out, maybe the cell service isn't as good as it could be, that kind of thing too.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so what about the Ghost of HVAC present? You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so a time when your meter still took 9-volt batteries. That's like a throwback.
Oh.
Your service tickets came in triplicate, which I had to look up that word because I didn't know what that was. That is apparently that, yellow, blue carbon copy that we talked about a little earlier, just in case anybody else is wondering. And nobody could figure out how to program the thermostat. We're going to fire up the time machine and see what the Ghost of HVAC present has to say about the world we're in now.
Okay.
All right, so everything's smart. I think we know that. We've talked a lot about that. Wi-Fi thermostats, connected sensors, and a text message when your system is sad or not working. Also a text message. Well, I get it's not a text message. It's like a push notification from my thermostat to say, hey, it's time to change your filter. And I have it set to go off once a month. So, and it also says hey, it's time to get your furnace serviced or that kind of thing, which I personally love because it's the reminder that I need in order to change the filter every month. Instead of setting a reoccurring reminder in your calendar or whatever, it's easy, set it, forget it, no brainer. And then whenever you get the message, you're oh, I'm going to go change my filter, or when I get home, I need to do it. I need to tell my husband to do it because I don't want to get in the attic to do it, that kind of thing. But also, those connected sensors, I've really enjoyed those too. I don't know if you have any of those with your thermostat, but I would recommend.
I don't actually, but
the biggest one actually isn't even at my house that I enjoy the most. My in-laws, the guest room is above the garage at their house, and that's where we normally stay when we travel to see them. And it's cold in the winter and hot in the summer, and so I got them a thermostat that has a sensor. And it helps so much regulate the temperature in that room because it's always a little bit different than where the thermostat actually is.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right, workforce and training. The balance between experienced techs and new entrants learning via TikTok and trade schools. I know we talked about that. I think TikTok has been such a good thing, but it also can be such a bad thing because I know we've talked a little bit about how misinformation on the internet spreads. So I think you kind of have to filter through the TikToks to see which ones are accurate and which ones aren't. Although I have learned a good bit on TikTok myself.
Yeah, me too. I think there is probably a lot of bad information out there, but I also think it makes, little tips and tricks more accessible, and I think that it's overall a good thing.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. I still think mentorship is so important. Passing down the trade. I just feel sometimes you just can't learn from a video. There's a lot of times you can learn a lot of stuff from a video, but some of the hands-on things that you learn from someone who's been in the industry for such a long time, you're not going to find on TikTok.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stuff okay, well, this is why it's been like this, or this is how it's transitioned over the years, and this unit's been here for 30 years and this is what they're typically known to do, kind of thing. There's a lot of that just comes from getting your hands dirty.
Yeah, I agree. Mentorship is very important because you also build that connection and community, and someone you can call when you don't know what's wrong. And
absolutely. All right, industry pressure, supply chain, especially post-COVID. We've definitely seen a lot of supply chain struggles and different things go on with that. Refrigerant changes, so many refrigerant changes, especially as we went through COVID and even now. So we're still on the cusp of the most recent refrigerant change. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Rising cost and demand for efficiency. Definitely seeing the regulations change surrounding efficiency too. So it's It's been definitely a lot to conquer over the last few years, but I feel like we're all starting to find our footing and get to where we need to be.
Yeah, I agree.
We've gone from can we fix it to can we fix it, make it greener, and notify me before there's a problem. So, we've seen so much stuff. We actually have had like a front row seat to what I would say was probably the most amount of changes.
Yeah, I think so too. What is one tech advancement that you can't live without now?
I'm not living out without my Wi-Fi thermostat.
I was going to say Wi-Fi in general.
Yeah, Wi-Fi in general for sure. Because, I mean,
remember when you had to go get on the computer?
Okay, do you remember when you couldn't be on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, dial-up internet. You couldn't be on the phone.
You'd be on the phone, your mom would pick up the phone and knock you off the internet.
Yes. And you'd be in the middle of your AOL chat. Our age is really showing. I want to go ask Morgan and Taylor if they know what AOL
dial-up even is. Play that sound for them.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
What frustrates you the most about modern HVAC work?
You know, I think the biggest challenge right now in our industry is the labor shortage. So, but I will say, on the flip side of that, I have been reading that Gen Z is really like diving headfirst into the trades.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So, and because I think we've spent the last 15 years really talking about why we need plumbers and electricians and HVAC technicians and kind of course correcting over some of the college. You got to go to college stuff. And I'm so appreciative for all the people who've really been advocates for that. I know Mike Rowe is a huge advocate for that. There's so many out there, though, and I feel like their hard work is finally paying off.
Yeah, I agree. What about what do you think about the industry becoming easier or harder overall?
So I think technology has made the industry easier and harder simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I think I've heard several technicians, we talked about like digital invoicing and being able to take payment right there, and GPS navigation just to get to the location have all progressed the industry and made their lives easier, everybody more efficient. But I will say some of the service technicians, especially on the commercial side, I have heard them say, I opened that unit up and it was a computer inside. Like it was, and they're intimidated. They're really intimidated by it, especially if they've never seen it, never run across it, don't have the proper training for it. And I mean, who wouldn't be? You know what I mean? So I think they're coexisting as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's becoming more complicated, but at the same time, there's also so much information out there available to you. So
I think with the proper resources. With the proper resources, they're going to be just fine. I think it's just like that initial knee-jerk, oh my gosh, what is this reaction? Okay, you want to talk about the ghost of HVAC future?
Yes, let's talk about that. Where the trade might be headed, a mix of optimism, speculation, and humor. All right, so first on the horizon is AI diagnostics, predictive maintenance, and automated dispatch. We're already seeing some of that.
Yeah, I was going to say. So I have seen several companies or several of our vendors who are taking on the AI diagnostics and giving the ability to the contractors to see what units they've installed, what they're doing, and maybe even giving them like a predictive idea of like, hey, something's going wrong. It hasn't completely broken yet, but something's going on with this unit at your customer's house. Maybe give them a call kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that is so cool because if there is one thing I'm going to spend my money on, it is to make sure that my house is cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And that's like non-negotiable for me. So if you're going to call me and you're going to say, hey, we got some news, we got some news on our dashboard that something's going on with your unit. I'm going to send somebody out if you want. Love it, can we schedule something with you?
I'd rather have like a
Absolutely.
preventative visit
Yes.
before I lose my heat or cooling.
Yes, absolutely. Especially because it always seems to happen when it's
Of
30
course.
degrees outside or 95 degrees in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. The last time my heat went out, it was like one of the coldest days of the year. It was insane.
Yeah, and you're just freezing, and I cannot think, or I can't even function when I'm cold. So, but predictive maintenance, I love that. I love also like the predictive maintenance aspect of it is so good, but also like having those PM contracts and checking in. You're going to get the most amount of life of your unit if you are making sure that the coils are clean, the filters changed, all that kind of stuff. So, all great stuff. Automated dispatch. I don't know much about this one because we're not on the contracting side, but I think that could be such a helpful tool, especially because, I mean, as we see more and more houses developed and more apartment complexes and stuff like that, you know, we're going to need help to carry the load of getting the trucks to where they need to go. So
Yeah,
I think that's a cool aspect of it.
I think creating, schedules that make more sense and sending people along routes that make sense.
Yeah, with those PM contracts, kind of automating, what the stops should be in order and, that kind of thing.
I agree.
I'm sure it probably looks at traffic trends too, which if you're in the Atlanta area is very important to you.
All right, the future tech's toolbox. Do you think that techs will wear AR goggles that will walk them through troubleshooting?
We say this is part of the future, but we've already seen this. I think XOI has kind of done the goggles,
sort of.
and kind of done like a virtual thing to kind of help them learn what to change and troubleshoot and all of that comes along with it. So yes, I do think that this will be something that we see more and more of in the future. I'd be interested to know if any trade schools are making investments that do this. Yeah, because I think
train on.
Yeah, I mean, because I just think it's such a good resource to leverage.
And also with an alternate reality situation, you can create a problem.
Yes.
And then pretend to fix it.
Yes.
And, learn how to see the signs and what to do. I think
and then
really nice.
when you think about the mentorship aspect of it, whereas you used to have a seasoned technician with maybe like an apprentice or a junior tech, and they were kind of like that mentorship was happening there on like a one-on-one basis, you could now take that senior tech and have him in like a training facility and almost like mentoring and teaching a whole group of people.
Yeah.
So and simulating what you would see on an actual job site.
What do you think about tools syncing automatically with a CRM?
I think a lot of this with AI is already happening too. I think we're going to continue to see more and more and more of this, especially on the contracting side. I think it's starting with the manufacturers is probably already somewhat happening. I know we're kind of looking into that and what that looks like for us as a distributor. And then I think the contractors are probably going to be the last ones for it to filter down to. But I definitely see them leveraging technology and just really optimizing their CRM tools.
Yeah, and I think for the next one, we're going to see cultural shifts. So a push for sustainability and skilled labor recognition.
I think so too. So if there's one thing I've learned about Gen Z, it's that they are definitely more about sustainability, efficiency, all those kinds of things. I know that they're willing to shop in places where the cashier can sit down and like pay them a fair wage, and they're willing to pay more for those things that are important to them. So I definitely think that we're going to see more of that, and I definitely think we're going to see more skilled trade recognition just because the next generation is really making more investments than we did than our generation did, for sure.
That kind of reminds me, this is sort of off topic, but it's related. When I was in high school, I worked at Ingles. And that was when Ingles didn't have the conveyor belt for groceries. The cashier, had to take your groceries out of your cart for you. It was seen as like, yeah, it was
like
seen
a service.
As a service. Like the cashier takes all your groceries out.
Okay, I I'll be honest, the town that I grew up in didn't have an Ingles until like later, probably like late 2000s, 2010, 12, somewhere around there. And I don't think that was ever a thing at the Ingles that I shopped at.
Yeah, they pretty much, I don't know if about all the Ingles, but I know the ones that I've been to recently
Have
like
all
a conveyor
have the
belt.
conveyor, yeah.
And you know, I go in there and I shop, and I'm like, back in my day, I had to do this. I had to pick all the groceries out.
As
for
if you're
people,
like
and,
a little white-haired old lady.
Uh-huh.
Back in my day, I love it.
We had to wear like khakis, and they're over here wearing jeans and sneakers. I'm
That's so funny.
like, back when I was here.
Okay,
It's totally
so
different.
I actually have a similar story, left field. My high school job was not at a grocery store; it was at Sonic, like the fast
Did
food
you
restaurant.
roller skate?
Yeah, I had to roller skate. And now, you know, you see these kids walking around, and I'm like, man, we were like risking our bones and everything. You hit a rock, and all the food on your tray would go flying, and you'd be like, oh man, I gotta go back inside. Like, I can't tell you how many embarrassing moments. I, as a skating car hop, I still can't skate. Like, I am not even sad about the skating rinks closing down and my son's not being able to experience that because I can't do it. So
That's funny. What about, do you think that HVAC will finally get the cool factor it deserves in school?
So, I don't know. Okay, so I can't say because I'm not in school, but I will say I do think that they're talking more about, you know, the person who went to college and has student loan debt versus the blue-collar worker who is now making 6 figures a year working as an HVAC tech because, the skilled trade gap, all of that. So I don't know that it's necessarily cool. I don't know what is cool or uncool anymore as old as I am. But I will say I think that we're teaching these kids a lot. We're letting these kids recognize a lot more that, that student loan debt's going to follow you.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, bankruptcy, whatever. It's not going away. It sticks. It's there until it's paid for. And I think a lot of the younger generation is learning more about money with all the TikToks and everything that they're going through. I definitely think we're seeing them pay attention in ways that not that we didn't pay attention. I think the conversation has changed. So I definitely think that whether it's cool or uncool, I think it's more of a consideration for a career path than it has been in 20 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I don't know what's cool or not cool,
Yeah,
but
me neither.
I do think that kids are being pointed in that direction more.
Yes.
As an option, because like I know a lot of the things I see are texts talking about like, oh well, while your friends are in college, you're already 4 years into your career pretty much, and like already making good money, and it's just a lot better in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah, and I think we're millennials, and so I think millennials are becoming parents now or have been parents, and they're having the conversations with their kids that we wish we would have had. We wish we would have gotten. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a little bit of where the pivot is too, because as we make those student loan payments every month, we're saying like, you might not want to do this. You might want to pick something different because it's been a journey and we still haven't made it out of it yet. So just something to think about for sure.
What do you think a service call in 2040 looks like?
Oh, this is such a fun question because I think the service call is going to I think there's going to be aspects of where it flips. Like we said, the AI diagnostics and that having that dashboard and being able to look into your customer's unit real time. I think you're going to be calling Mrs. Smith and saying, hey, we noticed, some efficiency drop, or we noticed there could be a leak. We noticed it's not working, or it's, on its way out, or whatever. It came up with this code of XYZ, and this is what it means. I think we're going to be able to, I think there's probably going to be even more in 2040. and they're going to be able to go in, service the code, and probably like talk to the computer that's on the unit in some way and reset it, and then say, okay, well, this part's messed up. Send a tech out, swap it out, be on your way.
Like a Terminator Robotech.
Yeah, there you go. Robotech, yeah. What do you think? What's your opinion of? If you could predict the future, what would you think you'd see?
Well, look, we're in 2025.
Yeah, almost 26, yeah.
And I thought that we would have like flying cars and stuff by now.
Be like the Jetsons.
So, I think it's like a little bit slower than we think. I mean, if you think about it, the technology over the last 20 years, yeah, there's been like a big boom, but I do think there's kind of a ceiling of what's possible.
Yeah.
And also technology is expensive. You know, not every contractor can afford all these new doodads and whatnot. So, you know, I think that there will definitely be a level of, you know, AI being involved and more information, more data being able to be used. But I don't know that it will look completely different from what we see now.
I think you're probably right. Like the cost of it may outweigh some of that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Although, you know what? I saw an ad the other day from the 90s or 2000s for VCRs, and they were expensive.
Really?
If you were to ask me right now how much I thought a VCR cost in 1993, I would say like $50, $100. But they were like $300.
Everybody had VCRs too.
I know.
And $300 back then was a lot of money.
Yeah, because now I think I did the like calculation online. It was like nowadays it's like $600 or something like that, $500 or $600.
Wow.
So I don't know. I was like, I texted my dad. I was like, I can't believe what the VCRs cost that much. He's like, a cheap one was $300.
Oh my gosh,
they were
so
up to like $500.
That is wild. Yeah, I mean, I don't even. Yeah, I guess it's so crazy to think about, like, the things that.
Yeah, because, well, kind of the point I'm making is that technology does also kind of get cheaper over time.
Yeah.
Because I also looked up, like, how much cell phones were, and it's, you know, a cell phone in the 90s was big deal, big technology. Then it was like $1,000, and I'm like, oh, well, it's
still like $1,000.
Basically like $1,000, but you get so much more out of it.
Yeah.
It can do so much more. And there are, you know, cheaper models that you can get now. So it's just interesting. I mean, I think that things will change over time and become more accessible for more people, but I don't see it being completely different.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's wild to think about, you know, like our parents, the things that our parents saw and paid for, and now how everything has transitioned. And I don't even think half the people listening to this probably knows what a VCR is.
I know.
Like,
remember when you had to rewind your tape
and before you took it to Blockbuster? Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
All right. Do you think that automation will ever replace HVAC techs or make them faster and better?
So I don't think they'll ever be replaced in our lifetime. I'm not going to say ever, but I think in our lifetime we're not going to see them go away completely.
Yeah.
I think they'll get faster and better, and I think I do think things will transition even more than they already have, but I definitely don't think they're going away.
I agree with that. All right, if you could design the perfect HVAC system of the future, what would it do?
Okay, it would heat and cool properly. It would like, I would put a chip sensor in my own arm so it knew exactly what temperature I wanted it to be. No, I'm just kidding. But it would literally have all the things that clean your air, make it the perfect humidity, and it would be like a forever filter.
Yeah.
It would be like maintenance free, and it would have like the best humidity, the cleanest air, all the things. That's what I would design. What would you design?
You know, I know that we have technology now where you can make one room this temperature and one room that temperature. I want you to be able to make half of the room warmer than the other half, because I'm a hot sleeper, so I want it to be colder at night. And my husband complains. He's like, "Can you turn the heat up?" because I want it to be cold, and I'm like, I want his side of the room to be warmer than my side of the room.
Okay, I like that. That's a good wish. I don't know if they'll ever be able to fulfill that wish.
No,
but
I don't think it's physically possible. But
I love that.
okay, so for our ender today, I have basically I'm going to read you like an opinion, and you're going to either say it's a hot take, meaning like you don't agree with it,
Okay.
or it's a cold take, meaning that you do agree with it.
Okay, cold I agree with. Okay, I got you.
All right, eggnog is just boozy pancake batter.
Hot take. I can't stand eggnog. For my entire life, I have never been like a milk drinker or eggnog drinker, none of that. And my dad was all in. I mean, he bought all into to the milk mustache movement.
Ew.
And thought that you had to drink milk and had to have your calcium through your milk. And every night at dinner, I had to drink milk. And
Ew.
it was scarring. And in Christmas time, that milk turned into eggnog. And I've just been scarred my entire life.
Yeah, I don't.
I still don't like milk.
I've tried eggnog, but it's just not good.
No, it's not. It's a texture thing for me and a taste. It's just abnormal. I can't do it.
All right, the next one is gift cards are the best gift because no one actually wants your thoughtful presents.
Okay, cold take. I agree with that.
I
Give me a
agree.
gift card.
Yeah.
Listen, once you get to a certain stage of your life, though, you're already buying what you want. So let me just get a gift card, and then I'll go pick something else out that I still want and just haven't purchased yet.
All right, the next one is Christmas lights should come down by New Year's Day, no exceptions.
Hot take. Okay, hot take, but I do not want to see your Christmas lights past February.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we have one of the houses in our neighborhood. I hope my neighbors don't listen to this. One of the houses, though, just left their Christmas lights on their house the entire year and just plugged them back in for
Oh my
next
God.
Christmas.
Well, you know what? That's kind of smart, actually.
What's the HOA for then? I mean, I'm not trying to be like a neighborhood Karen, but come on, take your Christmas lights down.
All right. All I want for Christmas is you should be retired for at least 5 years.
Cold take.
I love it.
I can't do
I
it.
love that song.
Listen, I just can't. They have run it into the ground for me. We need a new... Who's going to be the new age Mariah Carey with the Christmas song? What's the new one? Come on, Taylor Swift has to have some kind of like Christmas song that we can
You would think. You would think
replace.
she would. All right, I'm going to do one more. Real trees are overrated. Fake ones are cheaper, cleaner, and better for the planet.
Okay. Cold take, but I don't know if it's for the same reasoning.
I just like reusing it.
Yeah, I like reusing it because I feel like the Christmas trees have gotten really expensive. We had a real tree growing up. Every year we got a real tree growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go to the Christmas tree farm and we'd saw it down and all the things.
Yeah.
And I just like walked through Home Depot, I think last year when Christmas trees were out, and I was like, How
much were
kidding?
they?
I mean, some of these Christmas trees, like a nice, decent Christmas tree was $100.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I could get a fake Christmas tree for sometimes less than that on Black Friday deals. And I can put it up whenever. And I don't have to worry about my dog drinking the water out of it. Like,
you reuse it every year, so
Yeah.
basically it would pay for itself eventually.
yeah, like
pretty
a
much.
couple of years, it's
Yeah.
going to pay for itself. And
Agree.
it's not a fire hazard either in my house. So
Yeah, exactly.
If you've ever watched those videos, they're scary.
Yeah, those are terrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, that's it for today.
All right.
I hope everyone has a happy holiday, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.